Many years ago, my uncle and his new bride had just moved into their new home. Alvin and Noreen had only been married for 2 weeks when they had their first big disagreement, and it was all because of an egg. Noreen insisted that Alvin would love her special scrambled eggs if only he'd try them. Alvin firmly told his new wife that he would only eat them poached. Noreen said she didn't know how to make poached eggs, and she was convinced that if he'd only give her scrambled eggs a chance, he'd never eat poached again. Aunt Noreen would be the first to tell you that she was not a very good cook when she married Alvin and didn't want to learn how to cook anything other than what she was familiar with. Alvin and Noreen argued until late in the evening and both went to bed unhappy with the argument unresolved. Needless to say, it was a very chilly night in the little apartment, according to my aunt. The next morning, Noreen reminded Alvin that she didn't know how to make poached eggs and that he shouldn't expect to eat poached eggs anytime soon. Alvin told her he didn't have an appetite that morning anyway and decided to pick up a donut and coffee on his way to work. Once Alvin left, Aunt Noreen began to wonder if married life was really the right thing for her. She started to consider the possibility of packing her few belongings and just going back home to her parents. She felt this would be unfair to Alvin, but so would living with someone who couldn't even agree to eat what she wanted to cook. She decided to give it one more day, but she left her packed suitcase next to the door. When Alvin came home tired from work, he said the first thing he saw when he walked in the door was her suitcase. My aunt had made macaroni and cheese and hot dogs for supper. Alvin said he was worried, but afraid to complain because he wasn't sure what Noreen was planning to do. So he ate the food on his plate and cleaned up after himself. They didn't talk over dinner, but afterwards he asked if there was anything she needed to tell him and pointed to the suitcase. Noreen said she was upset because of the previous night and felt like it was a bad sign for the marriage that he wouldn't agree to let her cook the food she knew how to prepare. Alvin agreed and said he was willing to compromise if only she wouldn't leave. This made Aunt Noreen smile a little, and she agreed to sleep on it one more night. "What's the rush?" Uncle Alvin asked her. He reminded her, "You know, we've got the rest of our lives to argue over eggs."